It's showtime! Hey, how's everyone doing? So, what do we have here? Well, it's an Ultrasabers Bellicose. And I have to say that I am not bellicose after having received my Bellicose. I'm actually quite happy with it. Uh, so, this is another saber that I bought used off of eBay. And so a lot of times when you buy a saber used, especially where Ultra Sabers is concerned, you don't necessarily know, you know, what you're going to be getting as far as the whatever the soundboard that's equipped with this. So this has a Obsidian V3, I believe it's called, and so this saber when it arrived, the sound fonts were a little bit none the worse for wear. It only had 2 sound fonts as opposed to the normal 8 for some reason. So I actually went into the Saber's memory using Ultra Saber's software that you acquire from their website, and I was able to reinstall. I figured out how that thing worked thanks to watching a few videos on YouTube about how to do that. And it sort of involves throwing the fonts in there piecemeal. You add it piece by piece. Boot up font, swing fonts, or swing sound, swing, whatever the format is, clashes, lock up, blah, 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 and then you name them, and you save it, blah, blah, blah. So I ended up reinstalling everything to mixed results. I'd say about three of the sound fonts are actually working the way they're supposed to. For some reason, it's sort of a mixed bag of functionality, but the Saber is working. Currently, I have it set to, I believe, one of the episode. It's either episode 1 or episode 2. It's hard to tell because the boot up sound, which normally indicates which font you have selected, it isn't really working very well. So that's something. I'm not sure if it's an issue with the soundboard itself or if it is just something to do with my installation technique. But that's something I'll get sorted out eventually. So the Bellicose, hello. So we've got our vented pommel. I really like the pommel for the Bellicose. Now, I believe that there's 3 different versions, all predicated on the length of this little groove dealy and the number of little groove dealies that you have here. And I saw someone had reviewed one of these. They had received as a one of the like a raffle prize or something like that. They had kind of a unique version of this pommel, which is sort of rare. But I like the pommel nonetheless. So there's going to be a little bit of rattly because I've actually kind of unscrewed the blade in the pommel just to show you that chassis system for how the blade goes in here, because a lot of people lament that particular system, and it's not without its issues, but I don't mind it. So there's the rest of the pommel. Of course, you screw off the pommel, it gets you access to the chassis. As far as the chassis for these for the slightly higher end soundboard Obsidian Sabers, the chassis seem to be a little bit nicer than the usual fare. It goes in here kind of snug, and it doesn't really rattle around all too much. So I'm quite pleased with that. I can't complain about that. I'm not sure what the model number for the lithium ion batteries, but it takes 2 lithium ion batteries that you have to remove and recharge separately. This does not have a in-hilt recharge, so there's that. One of the things I do really enjoy about this is this sort of faux hand grip that's sort of built right in. It's designed right into the hilt itself. That's very nice. I like that. I like it whenever whenever a saber kind of has that, and you can always accentuate this with a wrap if you want to. It's sort of kind of lineates the location where a wrap might want to go. But I do kind of like the finish of this. I like it's very grippy. It's not really knurled. It's very smooth. It's very nice. They did a really lovely job on the design. Now, that being said, a lot of people complain that the Bellicose is a rather large hilt, as are most Ultra Sabers hilts. They are rather beefy, and you know something. I actually kind of that's one of the things I do actually like about Ultra Sabers. I like the beefiness because if you were to hold a Kylo Ren crossguard saber, that thing's a huge monster. And initially, I thought that that would be something that would be rather difficult to wield and hold. But I find that these larger, beefier hilts are actually easier to hold. Um, then again, I have large hands. I'm a pretty big guy, and I have large hands. And I don't know. There's just something about that. It's just very when you're swinging a saber that's just large and beefy and powerful, and it feels very much like you're holding the weapon of a warrior that's maybe a berserker that's going to go into the field of battle and just wreck shop and just destroy everything in sight. And you're going to be swinging a saber with wild abandon at times. I would imagine. Not that I get to do that on a daily basis. My job doesn't entail much combat, unless you consider it mental combat to be. Anyway. But I digress and I ramble. Anyway, so if there's one issue that I do kind of have with this saber is it has a CoverTech wheel built in. It's sort of oddly positioned. This is sort of an odd place to put it. It's sort of no matter how you handle it, this thing's kind of in the way. I might have put it a little bit more towards the end, but it's something that you get used to, and it's not too much of an issue. And I'm not going to complain. They had to put it somewhere, and for some reason they put it smack in the middle of the grip, which is strange. But what are you going to do, right? So the rest of the hilt is just sort of a series of concentric different width grooves. The real selling point, obviously, this has a momentary switch. It's not backlit, just plain Jane. But here's the eye of the saber. Now the thing is on this particular model, you can get different colors for this. I think you can get like a silver or kind of a brass / gold / copper. I'm not exactly sure. The person when they had ordered this initially, they got red. That's lovely. So this sort of this sort of alludes to your graphics saber design. So that's kind of nice. So let's get in close on that. There, let's focus. It's got like this little knurling on the side. I like it. It's pretty cool. Nice little accent design element to the saber. Really neat. So, of course, this is a curved S-style emitter. It's rather thin. Not too sharp. Not sharp at all, actually. And this is, like I said, that's loose. Pretty simple. There's your blade retention screw. And I do like the position of the blade retention screw being more towards the base in this section right here where you have kind of structurally, it's a lot more sound. If they had put that down here, obviously that wouldn't work because this little insert goes in here, but it wouldn't have been quite as structurally sound, and dueling would have been out of the question. But this position is much better. And this one actually uses a larger screw size, so the hex wrench tends to be, this is actually larger than your standard hex key. So for one of these sabers, you have to add the larger hex key that the person that sold this to me was kind enough to provide, and I do appreciate it. Although I do have a thoroughly comprehensive set of hex keys in a tool set, so it wouldn't have been an issue. But to be provided with this is very thoughtful. And of course, it uses the standard hex key size as well for this little section I'm about to show you right now, the inserts. And because of the location of the blade retention screw, this particular design element kind of terminates right here at about midway point, and that's also very nice. So this came with a blade, which I appreciate. It's a very nice blade. I think it's one of those mid-grade variety. And as you can see, this slides out. This is very unusual to most of Ultra Sabers. Sabers is a unique sort of situation here. And you have this little chassis that goes onto the end of the blade, held in by 2 standard size blade retention screws. Now, the one thing that's kind of key is when you insert this on, you have to have the blade kind of stick out about, it's not quite 1/8 of a millimeter. It's anywhere between like a 16th or rather 16th and 1/8 of an inch. I work in millimeters at work, so I get confused sometimes. So it's about 1.5 millimeters sticking out. And the reason for that is because if you look inside here, you can see your LED, and I'm not going to jostle it, but the LED tends to it's as with all Ultrasabers, or most of them, or 99% of them, the LED is not secure and rattles around quite a bit. When I received this, it kind of worked its way all the way to the top, and I had to kind of sort of fiddle with it and turn it gently to get the wiring and everything to fit into the hilts and get that LED down there. And effectively, when you insert this, and I'm going to do this off camera in just a bit because it'll be a lot easier. It just slides in, you get all the way in there, and it's actually the blade that holds the LED in position. Not the best system, but it does hold it securely. So I'm going to tighten this up really quick off camera. The one thing that is kind of strange is because this is sort of this is a metal, this piece is metal, which is excellent. I mean, as you can see, when you tighten this screw, it sort of digs in here. It's sort of, when you tighten the screw, it does, you get the feeling like something structurally is kind of giving, so that does give me a little bit pause, but nothing is actually breaking. I think it's just sort of what I'm hearing is this biting into the metal. So I'm going to put down the camera. Forgive me for that, and I'm going to tighten this up real quick. Just give me a sec. Okay. So there we go. So we're all in there, nice and tight. So you hear kind of when you tighten this, you hear kind of like a bit of a crackly kind of sound, but it's a little bit nerve-wracking, but nonetheless, it's in there, very secure. So no concerns there. And as I said, the sound fonts are sort of not in the best state. If I have time this weekend, I'm going to work on that some more. Now, it is to be said that I actually don't mind the process for installing sound fonts on these sabers. It was actually kind of, in a weird sort of way, kind of therapeutic and fun. And it's not bad. I actually I didn't mind doing it. It wasn't as tedious as I thought it was going to be. Anyway, so like I said, I've got one of the episode fonts. It's either 1 or 2. I'm going to boot this thing up. So this came with Guardian Blue. Now the thing about this font, it sounds really good on this saber. It's very subtle. Very repetitive. I mean, it's just a matter of one... I think it's just one file creating the sound, but it's not bad. And this saber comes with, I believe, silver flash on clash. I like the clash sound on this font. And the swing sound is very subtle. It's funny when you're installing the swing fonts. There's like 12 of them, but I don't get the impression that there's really too much variety in the swing sounds. But I like it. I'd say as far as brightness goes, this is pretty standard Ultrasabers brightness. It's the blade is sufficiently lit from the emitter. Obviously, whenever you've got an LED in play, it's much brighter here, and it tends to terminate down to the end. But one thing I do like about this blade is that it's actually illuminating the tip. So I'm not exactly sure what the situation is. Usually I have a mirror right here, and the tip will not really be illuminated, but this one is. So it's a good job. I'm really happy that in this particular instance that the seller provided the blade, and the blade's straight, no flaws, good condition. So I'm extremely happy. So the other feature that this saber has, obviously, has lockup, so you can see the silver at play. And all right, so I'll do the visual tour from one end to the other. So obviously this is a used saber, so it's been through its paces. It does have its flaws. As I've stated previously in other videos, I just kind of think of that as sort of natural weathering. I don't mind a little bit of wear and tear on my sabers. I got this for a really good price. I'm extremely happy with it. This is just sort of the prelude to when my Flamberge arrives. Now that's going to be a glorious piece of kit. That thing is pretty much mint, and it'll be my first emerald driver. So I have yet another driver I have to figure out how to deal with. Now, to be said, this is a very simple design in some regards. It's very homogeneous, and it's there's really not too much variance from one end to the other as far as thickness, or it's just a really simple design. And I think of this as sort of it's more of a standard issue saber. If you had a military that was equipped with such things, they'd probably have a saber something like this. So at any rate, that's my Bellicose, and I give it 2 thumbs up. I'm really pleased with this thing. It handles well. All things considered, it's not overly heavy, not overly rattly. Yeah, I mean, it does have greebles that kind of stick out, and it's a good all-around two-handed saber. Although it's light enough that you can wield it one-handed as well. Yeah, I'm very pleased with my purchase. And as I've stated before, quite often, almost exclusively where Ultrasabers is concerned, I do tend to prefer to buy them used. My apologies to Ultrasabers for that, but I just, for the price point, to buy this saber equipped with everything that's equipped with, yes, it comes in pristine condition, and yes, it comes fully loaded with all the fonts and everything functional. But to save $100 or $200 to get essentially the same thing with some minor flaws, I don't know. That just, to me, is that's the way I have to go financially. I really can't be spending quite the amount of money that they require to be spent on their sabers. When I can spend that same amount of money and get sabers that are, well, I won't get into that whole thing, but I do love Ultrasabers. I have a fondness for them. I definitely prefer them over other heavy hitting saber companies, to the point where I'm considering making some decisions as far as thinning out my collection and what can go and what will stay. And for the most part, all my Ultrasabers are going to stay because I don't know. They're very endearing, and they're very I don't know, kind of I hesitate to say special to me, but I do love them. So I'll leave it at that. And at any rate, I hope everyone kind of enjoyed this look and review at the Bellicose. And yeah, on Monday I'm receiving a ready to ship my ready to ship ArcLight from Saber Trio. So I'm really looking forward to reviewing that. That's gonna be really really cool. And I just bought like I said, I bought a Flamberge, but I just bought another saber tooth, from a company that I've been eyeballing for a while. Kind of a stunt saber, and that is going to be gorgeous. You guys are really gonna love that saber when it comes in, and you'll get to help me name it and all that stuff. So, at any rate, hope you enjoyed the video. Please, feel free to comment. I like your comments. I don't always answer them as quickly as I would like to, but I always try to because I love you guys. And I hope everyone has like a really, really cool weekend. I'm going to relax because this week had a massive quantity of yeesh, especially today. Ooh, weird things afoot today. At any rate, wow, that doesn't really flicker at all. There you go. All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye.